Suppose that you had a friend that you cared for very deeply. Now, suppose that your friend happens to be driving down a road completely oblivious to the fact that down the road a ways, the bridge is out. Suppose that from your vantage point, you can see your friend and you can see the bridge and you can see that a tragedy is about to unfold before your eyes. In less than a minute, you will witness your dear friend plunging off of that broken bridge into certain doom. So what would you do? You would be doing anything and everything in your power to warn your friend. You'd be jumping and yelling, you'd be waving your arms, you'd be screaming, you'd try to call him on the phone, you would do anything to save your friend. That's kind of how I feel at this very moment. I serve as the lead pastor at Impact Church in Lake Wales, Florida, and I care very much about people. I care about people who are young and old, men, women, children. I care about folks who have life struggles, who are just trying to make their way through this life. I agree with the old children's song that says, red and yellow, black and white, they are precious in His sight. All of us are busy. We have work to do. We have jobs that we go to daily. We have kids to care for. We have school work. We have studies to keep up with. And then we also have things we keep ourselves occupied with sports and activities, all kinds of recreation. Oftentimes we fail to give attention to what might be coming down the road. And that is what this is all about. I'm asking you to please look at me like I am that friend that has a certain perspective. I'm jumping frantically and I'm yelling, waving my arms, trying to give you a call. Look at me as someone who cares about you, that I'm trying to help, that down the road a little ways, you can't see it right now. But this applies to all of us. The bridge is out. You might be going down life's highway with the cruise control set at 70 and everything's going fine. But it doesn't mean that your life's highway is without its troubles. I want to let you know that something is coming our way, and it's going to affect all of us. I believe in the Bible, not just because it's a religious book or a holy book. I believe in the Bible because what has been written has been proven true time and time again. I also believe in the Bible because of all of the religious books, all of the holy books of religions around the world. Only the Bible truly contains what we would call prophecy or foretelling events that would happen that are yet in the future. I believe that the predictions that were made and came true in the Bible validates the contents of the Bible. Let me say it to you this way. Let's say that there's a big game coming up, a football game, and that the game is between two rival cities, the Anytown Warriors and the Other Town Fighters. Now, if I were to say that the Warriors would beat the Fighters, and later I was proven true that I was correct, you'd say, that's no big deal. You had a 50-50 chance of getting it right. Now, if I were to say that the Warriors would beat the Fighters at the score of 17-14, and if I was proven right, you'd say that was a lucky guess. But if I were to say that the Warriors would beat the Fighters in overtime with a score of 25-22, which is not a typical football score, that there were exactly 15,300 people in attendance, that exactly 7,800 hot dogs would be sold, that exactly 12,300 drinks would be consumed, and that the two team mascots would have tea at halftime. And if all of these things were proven 100% accurate, if I was able to foretell that, I think I'd have your attention. Now, suppose that I told you that the Bible has approximately 2,500 prophecies that have already been proven true. The Bible can be believed because it has been validated over and over again through prophecies. Fulfilled prophecy proves that the Bible is God's Word. that it is supernatural, that it's reliable, and that you can rely upon it. There are about 200 specific verses in the Old Testament that tell us about the birth of Jesus centuries before he was born. Daniel foretells the time of his birth. Isaiah speaks of the fact of his virgin birth. And Micah gives us the place of his birth. About 1,000 years before Jesus was born, we're given details of his life and death. We're given the fact of his resurrection in the book of Psalms. One mathematician put the odds of just the 200 verses of Jesus' birth and prophecy coming true as 1 in 87, followed by 93 zeros. And that's a lot of zeros. At the time of its writing, about 1/4 of the Bible was written prophetically. Let me say it this way. As the words that make up the Bible were being written, 25% of them were speaking of things that would happen in the future. Events that would take place in the future were accurately predicted. They were correctly foretold years, sometimes centuries in advance. And these predictions or these prophecies make up 25% of the Bible. In fact, prophecy telling us that Jesus would be executed via crucifixion was written 500 years before the Romans even invented crucifixion. In all of the writings of the world, the accuracy of biblical prophecy is unique. Because of the accuracy of biblical prophecies already fulfilled, we can trust that biblical prophecies yet to be fulfilled will be. Let me say that again. Please get this. Because of the accuracy of biblical prophecies already fulfilled, you can trust the biblical prophecies yet to be fulfilled. So, if past centuries-old prophecies of the Bible have been proven true, wouldn't it make sense that prophecies yet to be fulfilled would be valid and that we need to take a close look at them? If I had so accurately predicted not only the victory and the score of the Anytown Warriors win over the Othertown Fighters, but also the exact number of those in attendance, the exact number of hot dogs, the exact number of drinks, and the fact that the team mascots had tea at halftime, you would likely be coming to me for the next game prediction, or maybe even the next lotto numbers. God has a message for us today that is relevant. I'm asking us to stop and pay attention for a moment that there's a bridge out and that we need to know before we go over the edge. The trouble is that when it comes to God, we want Him to be all about us. What's in it for me? What does it benefit me? What can God give me? What can Jesus do for me? We do not ask these questions through the lens of eternity. Prophecy, predictions in the Bible point to matters of eternity. What's going to happen in the near future? What's going to happen way down the road? What's going to happen as we grow old, when we're not here anymore? These are questions that we must ask with an eye for eternity. Questions that deal with the forever part of us. In 1980, one morning in May, the Tampa, Florida news stations began to inform us that a tragedy had occurred and that the Sunshine Skyway Bridge was closed, that it was heavily damaged, and that there had been loss of life. The 606-foot, 20,000-ton cargo vessel Summit Venture was coming into Tampa Bay. It was a foggy morning, and the pilot spoke of poor visibility when suddenly there came an unforeseen rainstorm with accompanying 70-mile-an-hour winds. This resulted in the cargo ship being pushed off of its course, causing it to slam into one of the main supports of the bridge. More than a quarter mile of the bridge, more than a quarter mile of steel and concrete crashed into the water from a height of 150 feet. The pilot frantically called for the Coast Guard.
Mayday, 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 Coast Guard. Mayday, 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 Coast Guard.
Vessel calling, mayday, vessel in distress. This is United States Coast Guard, St. Petersburg, Florida. Request your position, nature of distress, and number of persons on board, over.
This is it. All the emergency equipment out to the Skyway Bridge. The vessel just hit the Skyway Bridge. The Skyway Bridge is down. Get all emergency equipment out to the Skyway Bridge. The Skyway Bridge is down. There's a mayday, emergency situation. Stop the traffic on that Skyway Bridge.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. Coast Guard. The bridge is down. The bridge is down. Get all emergency equipment to the Skyway Bridge. The Skyway Bridge is down. This is a major emergency situation. Stop the traffic on that Skyway Bridge. Because of the blinding rain, drivers of the southbound lanes were unable to see the missing roadway ahead. 6 cars, a truck, a Greyhound bus plunged over the edge where the bridge used to be, 150 feet into the waters below. 1 man survived and 35 others were killed. Workers on the cargo ship watched in horror. There was nothing they could do. Vehicle after vehicle plummeted down as they drove over the edge of the bridge. There is actually a startling picture of one car that barely escaped. The driver literally skidded to a stop 14 inches from the edge of the bridge. The prophecies of the Bible can be a forewarning of bridges that are down in your life. In this, the first of 10 video blogs, I hope that you will come to see me as that friend who's jumping up and down, waving my arms, I'm screaming. I hope that I can get your attention in order to forewarn you and me that we can be saved from imminent disaster. You know, if you ask around, most people believe that there's an end of the world that is coming. Please check out the other 9 videos. As we continue, I'm going to discuss prophecies of the Bible that describe to us what we can expect to happen in the future. Please keep watching.